Alright, man, early morning video. I ain't watched the Hall of Fame game. I don't have any vested interest in preseason, but I did see that the quarterbacks both struggled. I think Kyle Allen had 3 turnovers. Maybe if the 3 was in the first quarter or whatever, and he was terrible. He was terrible. You know, let's talk about it. Hendon Hooker, he got a little shot. He had a pick. And now it's this, anarchy that the Lions have a quarterback situation issue. Back up. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. That's why people have guys like Nick Foles and Gardner Minshew. We had Sean Hill for years. So I don't know what's literally legit out there. I mean, you call Cleveland and try to get one of those quarterbacks, it'll be between Pickett and Gabriel and Shador. Maybe you can make something happen there. Like I said, I literally don't know. Trey Lance looked pretty solid last night from what I heard. But then again, he going against a bunch of guys that may, for the most part, not even be on the NFL roster. And that's a scary thing. Same thing for Kyle Allen. He going against a bunch of guys that may not be on the NFL roster. And the Lions still had a backup quarterback issue. They've had a backup quarterback issue, It's been a thing. So not sure, how they gonna play it, or where they gonna look for help at, or do they just continue to develop and play towards these guys' strength? Do they try to snag a quarterback, trade for one? There's a bunch of quarterbacks struggling early on. That Tyler Salt kid, that New Orleans pick, struggling. So, but yeah, and I never thought Kyle, Allen was the answer. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, I didn't know what they was thinking, but they did have the right idea of drafting a guy, trying to develop him. But for Hendon Hooker, it just wasn't the right guy. I don't know if it was the injury, or it was the system at Tennessee that, that it didn't translate to it being the pro system. That's the thing about it. And maybe they can convince Teddy Bridgewater to come out of retirement. He's suspended anyway, so that might be the best thing to do is to convince Teddy Bridgewater to come out of retirement and let him be your backup quarterback. He knows the system and everything like that, so that may be the best thing, for the Detroit Lions, is to just deal with, a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, a guy that already know your system. So, but I mean, I'm not too surprised. I mean, it's been a problem. You just thought that Hendon Hooker can make that jump, and maybe without the actual, snaps with the ones, it just didn't. It couldn't happen. That may be what it is. Without the actual snaps with the ones, and the live reps that he deserved to get, maybe he just couldn't fully develop. And I mentioned this in another video. Same thing happened in Minnesota with Kellen Mond. I thought he looked pretty okay at Texas A&M, had some potential, and Minnesota just seen it wasn't going to work, and they just didn't waste any more time and cut him pretty quick. But we've seen other quarterbacks like Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. It took a little bit for it to click. It took a little bit for those guys to actually get it. So, but for the most part, they feel like Hooker has sufficient time to get it together. And right now, he's probably in danger of getting cut. So, I mean, we had that kid down there in Baltimore who went to Miami. He looked terrible. What was his name? I liked him a lot in my Huntley. He went to Miami last year and he couldn't get shit done. So, I don't know. Maybe they need to put a package in for one of those quarterbacks that work more to their strengths. Maybe that might be the case. But for the most part, now they out there not only probably searching for a pass rusher, but they're probably now searching for a quarterback, which probably, just, paying Teddy Bridgewater to come in and be that guy. That may make a lot of sense. So, but, Cleveland got a few quarterbacks. I don't really know what other backup is still out there that could be waiting for an opportunity, but or whoever hanging on somebody's roster or willing to, or losing competition and willing to move on. But now they got to start looking at those things. So, yeah, they knew they had a problem. You don't just wait to the game time to see that. So, either they, if I'm them, bring Bridgewater back or put a package in for Hooker to kind of dumb stuff down for him. Maybe it's using his legs a lot more. But the troubling thing is these are versus guys that's probably not going to make an NFL roster or be major contributors on the NFL roster. That's the crazy thing about it. That's what it is. It's going to be a bunch of guys that's not probably going to be even major contributors on the NFL roster. So that troubles. That's even more troubling, in my opinion, because they had that type of game versus guys who's not going to be on the NFL roster. Think about that. They're gonna be in there versus guys who didn't even make an NFL, who don't even make an NFL roster. So take it for how you want to take it. Take it for how you want to take it. But that's the reality of it. So I said, hopefully they figure it out or Goff just stay healthy. But they expected Hooker to figure it out, and he hasn't. So he probably about to be out the league. And then you know what? The rumors, like I said, the rumors and chatter gonna start that they should have traded him. And there may be a bigger problem at hand too, that Brad Holmes may not know how to pick a quarterback, and or the Lions may not know how to develop a quarterback. So there can be bigger problems at hand. And eventually Goff is gonna not be the quarterback no more. And remember, John Elway was one of the great quarterbacks in our league for many, many years. He couldn't draft a quarterback. That's ultimately what happened with him in Denver. They couldn't find a quarterback. You know, they couldn't find a quarterback. So that's how Sean Payton ended up there taking all the Walmart's money. Because old Johnny boy couldn't find a quarterback. And he was one of the NFL's greats. And he couldn't find a quarterback. So, wow. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We live drop video. Hit the link in the description. Follow me everywhere from Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Peace.